Right now, a burglar could be walking down your street, not at 3 a.m. in a ski mask, at 11 in the morning in a polo shirt holding a clipboard. He knocks on your front door. If nobody answers, he doesn't leave. He gets to work. And here's the part that should stop you cold. In a survey of convicted burglars, every single one of them said they knocked first. That means the difference between my house and the next target often comes down to a handful of small mistakes. Mistakes you might be making today. Let's fix them before someone else finds them first. Here's the good news up front. Burglary in America is at a historic low. The FBI recorded 779,542 burglaries in 2024. A rate of 229.2 per 100,000 people, the lowest since at least 2005, and down about 64% from over 2.1 million back in 2005. But down doesn't mean not your block. 405,776 of those were homes, 52% of the total, and the average residential loss ran nearly $5,000 during the day and about $4,400 at night. The uncomfortable truth is that most break-ins aren't sophisticated. They're crimes of opportunity, and the opportunity is usually something the homeowner handed over for free. Over the next few minutes, I'll walk you through 7 of them, ordered from everyday slip-ups to the one mistake experts say is the single most common. Stick around, because number 7 is the one almost everyone gets wrong. Let's start with the most embarrassing one, because it's also the most common. A huge share of break-ins involve no breaking at all. The intruder just walks in. According to the US Department of Justice, about 40% of burglaries involve an unlocked door or window, nearly half. And it's not just the times you forget. It's the "I'm only running to the store for 10 minutes" door, the garage side door, the window you cracked for fresh air and never closed. Burglars know this, which is why so many simply test handles first. It's fast, silent, and requires zero skill. The fix costs you nothing. Build a lock check habit. Lock up every single time you leave, even for 5 minutes, and every night before bed, including the garage door and ground floor windows. If you struggle to remember, a smart lock that auto-locks after a set time removes the human error entirely. But locking the door only helps if the door itself can survive a kick. Which brings us to number 2. Here's something most people never think about. Your expensive deadbolt is only as strong as the wood it slams into. When a door gets kicked in, it's usually not the lock that breaks. It's the strike plate, that little metal plate on the frame, held by 2 short screws that bite into a thin strip of soft pine. Most burglaries involve forced entry, and the front door is the #1 entry point, accounting for 34% of break-ins. A determined intruder can defeat a flimsy frame in seconds. The fix is one of the best security dollars you'll ever spend. Swap the tiny factory screws in your strike plate for 3-inch screws that reach past the frame and bite into the wall stud behind it. Add a reinforced strike plate or a door reinforcement kit and pair it with an ANSI grade 1 or 2 deadbolt. If you have a hollow core exterior door, replace it with solid wood or steel. It's a weekend project that costs less than dinner out, and it turns your weakest point into your strongest. Now, even a fortress door won't help if you're handing out the key. Be honest. Is there a spare key under your mat right now? Behind a loose brick? In that fake rock by the flower bed? If so, you're not being clever. You're being predictable. Security pros and former burglars say the same thing. The doormat, the flower pot, the fake rock, the top of the door frame, the mailbox, these are the first places anyone checks, and a burglar can find a key there in seconds. One survey even found that 35% of people who hide a key use a fake rock, and most fake rocks look exactly like what they are. The fix: get rid of the outdoor spare entirely. Leave a key with a trusted neighbor, install a smart lock with a temporary code you can give guests and delete later, Or use a heavy, bolted-down lockbox with a real combination, not the flimsy kind. Because the moment a burglar finds your key, they haven't broken in at all. You've let them walk right through the front door. Speaking of walking up to the front door in broad daylight, we picture burglars slipping through shadows at night. The reality is they love two things: an easy approach and a place to hide while they work. And a surprising number of homeowners landscape their property like they're building a burglar, a private hiding spot. Overgrown hedges below the windows, tall bushes flanking the front door, dense shrubs along the side of the house. To you, that's privacy. To an intruder, that's cover to crouch, test a window, and stay invisible from the street and your neighbors. Then there's darkness. A dark, unlit exterior lets someone approach your entry points completely unseen. Here's the data that should change your mind. A randomized controlled experiment run with the University of Chicago Crime Lab found that adding streetlights led at a minimum to a 36% reduction in nighttime outdoor crimes. And a review of 13 studies from the US and the UK found improved street lighting cut crime by an average of 21%. The fix is cheap and twofold. Trim all shrubs below window height, under about 3 feet, so there's nowhere to hide, and install motion-activated lights at every entry point, especially side and back doors. A sudden light where a burglar expected darkness triggers the instinct to flee. Next up is a mistake you might be making from your couch or a beach chair. This one's sneaky because it feels totally harmless. You post the airport selfie, the Bali "here we come" story, the real-time vacation photos. What you're actually posting is a public announcement that your home is empty with a timestamp. A 2025 all-state survey conducted by Leger found that 32% of social media users post about their plans before or during travel, a figure that jumps to 51% among people aged 18 to 34. Meanwhile, surveys of burglars have found many admit to using social media to scout for empty homes. And it's not just posts, it's the physical tells. A pile of mail, newspapers stacking up, packages on the porch, trash cans out for days, the same lights off around the clock. All of it signals nobody's home. The fix: post your vacation photos after you're back. Put a hold on mail and packages, or have a neighbor collect them daily. Use smart plugs or timers to turn lights, and even a radio or TV on and off in a realistic pattern. The goal is simple: make an empty house look lived in. Which leads right into the next one. Because sometimes what you're advertising isn't that you're gone, it's what you own. Burglars are running a risk versus reward calculation, and you might be tipping the scales without realizing it. Two big giveaways. First, the window display. Valuables visible from the street, a big screen TV glowing in the front window, a laptop on the entry table, jewelry on a dresser you can see from the sidewalk. Burglars routinely peer through windows to size up the payoff before choosing a target. Second, and this one catches people constantly, the packaging on the curb. When you set out the box for a brand new 75-inch TV or a game console on trash day, you've put up a billboard advertising exactly what's now sitting in your living room. The fix: angle expensive electronics away from windows and keep blinds or curtains closed when you're out, especially at night when a lit room is a fishbowl. Break down large boxes and put them inside the recycling bin, or drop them at a recycling center. Never leave them whole on the curb. And store small valuables, documents, and cash in a bolted-down safe, not the top dresser drawer, which is literally the first place burglars head for. Now we've arrived at number 7. The mistake experts point to more than almost any other. Here's the biggest one, and it ties everything together. The belief that my neighborhood is safe, I don't need cameras or an alarm or even a sign. That single assumption is what separates the homes that get hit from the ones burglars skip. And we don't have to guess why. Researchers asked them directly. In a University of North Carolina at Charlotte study of 422 convicted burglars, about 83% said they'd try to determine whether a home had an alarm before breaking in, and roughly 60% said they'd seek a different target if they found one. Visible cameras alone deter over half of them. Even a yard sign or window decal deters about a quarter. And the National Council for Home Safety and Security cites that homes without a security system are 300% more likely to be burglarized. The point isn't that you need the most expensive system on the market, it's visibility. A burglar standing at your door is making a snap decision, and every visible layer, a doorbell camera, a motion light, a sign, an audible alarm, pushes the risk versus reward math toward not worth it, move on. The fix scales to any budget. At minimum, a video doorbell and a couple of visible cameras at the front and back. Add door and window sensors and a loud alarm if you can. And put up the signage, because the goal of home security isn't to catch a burglar in the act, it's to make sure they never choose your house in the first place.